minds. This is what if the kids trained like Goku and Vegeta. Well, more like what if the kids trained like their parents. Now, you might be wondering, what are you gonna do with this? Because some of them I don't think could. They're too powerful to go train with Roshi. But that's not it. Not it at all. So in this version, we have a completely different happenings. Number one, the first thing to happen when Goten is able to breathe, he wants to train. And the first thing he does when he can talk is ask Gohan to train with him. This will change immensely, because this is 3 years. I'd say maybe 1 or 2 actually, down the line from when Goten is born. Sorry about that, guys. So this meant that after those few years, we're gonna ball it around 2. So yeah, we've got 5 more years. Gohan hasn't really been training. Thinking that he hasn't gotten any more powerful in 2 years, he thinks, yeah, I could do some training. And he said, sure, Goten. And he starts off at little weights so his brother could keep up and spar a little bit with him. But he noted that this wasn't enough. And he got a ton of senzu beans and taught Goten about them real quick, and they sparred, with Gohan accidentally going all out with one shot. Not like accidentally full punch, but like more powerful than he was going to use. And Goten completely went down. But then, Gohan, being a nice brother, gave him a senzu bean, which meant that Goten was completely healed and stronger. At this point, this is when Goten shows Super Saiyan. This amazes Gohan, and he says, alright, now we just have to make it where you can master that form. This terrified Goten. But him and Trunks, they hang out rarely now, but still occasionally. And he told Trunks about his training with his brother. Because they haven't really, since they're really just little kids right now. This makes Trunks start thinking, Goten is stronger than me. He can hardly go into Super Saiyan way sooner than me. Now, Trunks is still gonna wind up unlocking Super Saiyan. Surprising Vegeta, which is now from Trunks training on his own. And with Gohan. Now, every single day, there's a 2 versus 1 with Goten and Gohan, and Trunks trying to beat Gohan. Think of it like never mind. They just keep trying to get a swing on him, and they can rarely even touch him. It's kind of similar to what Whis does with Goku and Vegeta. So yeah. And I'm and then one day, Trunks wants to train with Vegeta. So he kind of canceled his training with Gohan. Gohan didn't mind, that meant he can get some one time with his brother. And that meant that every single day, for the next 2 months, Vegeta and Trunks were training in the gravity room. Now, Vegeta didn't think Trunks could handle it. But he got surprised when Trunks completely overwhelmed him, because they were training in base. And that's because Vegeta didn't think Trunks could go any higher. And whenever he put it to his regular training gravity with no Super Saiyan on, for training his base, his son was basically on the floor. And it wasn't even a heavy gravity, it was only half of his. He said, "What's wrong, my boy? Can't handle gravity?" "Oh, I can't let it up on you, though." Which meant that Trunks was barely taking any steps. But then, he powers into Super Saiyan. And he actually is completely walking around and playing out like it's nothing. This is the iconic time whenever Vegeta said, "If you can land one punch on my face, I'll take you to the park." And instead, whenever he does this, Trunks is actually a good bit stronger. I'd say he's at least 3 times what he was in canon. and he lands a single shot. Not just one. He landed 3 to Vegeta's stomach and 1 to his face. But Vegeta used a single swing and sent Trunks flying. Now, he didn't send him flying as far as he had in canon. He just sent him back, and it didn't hurt Trunks that bad. It just made him stand back up. Well, then they still go to the park and all that, not a big deal. But this is about training, so we're doing with training. Now, Chi-Chi and Bulma have an idea. Let's send the kids off to Roshi. I mean, it did work for Goku and Krillin, and yeah, there's them too. The mother's thinking this, saying, I don't know, he's kind of perverted. And then Gohan said something that completely surprised him, as well as Vegeta, saying the same thing. You think that's a big deal to the boys? They should be fine. Come on, they're as strong as Frieza. At least. Vegeta, remembering how he wasn't even half this whenever he was their age, he said, these boys are what we have never been able to keep up with when we were their age. Anyway, and back to the training. They wind up going with Roshi and just straight up first day get overwhelmed. Super Saiyan was not allowed to be used unless sparring. Neither was Ki. They had to do training, like full-on training, wearing the turtle weights. The same ones that Krillin and Goku used, but in this version, different ones. Roshi has way heavier ones in this version that he can barely even move himself. And he knows he can barely move them, but every day he's actually training in this version because he wants to keep up. He knows he won't be able to keep up really that well, but he still wants to. Now, Roshi's training kind of got a little overwhelming for the kids, but they still end up doing it. After a few years, they were done. And now we've got the match against, well, the one we had in canon, the Tenkaichi Budokai. And this goes way differently, because whenever Gohan's trained these last 7 years. And so has Vegeta, and they've trained with stronger sparring partners, as well as gotten way stronger themselves. Both of them can go into Super Saiyan 3 in this version. Barely. Note on barely would mean that Gohan would have to be trying his hardest to go into Super Saiyan 3 for a moment. He can only go into it the way he could in Super Saiyan 2. One fight, that's it. Vegeta's the same way. Now, slight difference in this version. Whenever Spopovich and Yamu, I think that's their names. I don't know. Anyway, whenever Videl was getting beaten down, Gohan, as angry as he was, he doesn't just go into Super Saiyan 2. He hits Super Saiyan 3 with a vengeance. And he flies in at, like, raging speeds. At this point, Goku and Vegeta know if they don't step in, someone's gonna die. Because no one can stop Goku. I mean, no one can stop Gohan like this. Even Vegeta says if he was to come to blows, he would probably lose to this kind of power. Goku, thinking that's because Vegeta isn't as strong as his son, he actually commented that, no, you fool, when he's enraged, he's stronger than he would be normally. I'd say I'm just about even with your son, actually. But enraged, no one holds a candle to him. Hearing this, Goku's impressed, saying, good, he kept his training up. And the same kind of thing with Boo happened. They absorbed a little bit of energy, and then they took off. And the Kais still reveal themselves, Piccolo didn't fight, all that. Well, in this version, when they go, something different happens. There's an idea. And in this version, Goten won the fight between Goten and Trunks. And they look a little bit older in this version, because, like, that'll do it. When you train hard, your Saiyan ability makes you look a little bit older, so you look a little bit more, like, grown. Now, back into this. Even though he looks a good bit more grown, and acts a little bit more grown, and he's a lot more powerful, this is still Goten. He still loves hanging out with Trunks and doing what he does. Well, whatever the video is, let's go. Now we've got a complete thing for Boo. The Boo saga goes basically the exact same. Honestly, though, even though the kids look a little bit older and have a little bit, and actually can go into Super Saiyan 2, there's a good bit of difference. They haven't mastered Super Saiyan 2, they can just barely go into it. Now, we're going to do the whole Boo thing being the exact same, and Gotenks still tried fighting and lost. Ultimate Gohan appears, saying that it's the multiplier similar to Super Saiyan 3, but it was different. Now, in this version, Gohan's thinking about trying to add Super Saiyan on top of the Ultimate form. Thinking it might be a good idea, but he'd have to at least be able to use Super Saiyan 3 on, like, this is base if he was going to do that. And that was the idea. If he can already use the Ultimate like it's his base. He can use Super Saiyan 2 like it's his base. But he can't just stack Super Saiyan 2 on top of Ultimate. Or even just Super Saiyan 1 is difficult. Noting that the power it gives him is almost beyond that of comprehension, though. To be fair, this multiplier it would give would be around God Key level, so yeah. Goku and Vegeta are thinking, if they have their potential unlocked, it's not technically getting power gifted to them, it's their power. That's it. They think about the older Kai and think, would he be willing to unlock their potential? And he does. But, as it was stated in canon, they don't have as much potential as Gohan. Goten and Trunks do, though. So whenever Goten and Trunks are about to do the same ritual, Bulma and Chi-Chi like, how long are they going to be gone? And Vegeta and Goku just straight up said, probably around a week. At least. Look, we'll be back. They'll be trained up by literal gods. And be taught by them. Hearing this, Chi-Chi and Bulma were like, okay, you get 2 months. That's it. Goku not being dead anymore, though, so he's good. Now, this meant that while Goku was not dead anymore, he was a good bit more dangerous. Now, let's get going to the what if. So we go on with the amazing battles of Super, because we just finished the Buu saga, it went the same. And Super goes way different. Well, not really, but still a little bit. Anyway, let's go on. So, in Super, the Tournament of Power won't happen yet. But anyway, let's start off with Battle of Gods. Now, the first to take a step up is still Goku, and Goku has his potential unlocked. So whenever, like, the first thing he says to Beerus is he shows off Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. And then he shows his ultimate form, which is just as strong as Super Saiyan 3 without as much drawback. This actually increases Beerus' thinking on this, saying, that ultimate form, where'd you get it? The Kai's unlocked my potential. With a weird dance. Beerus thinking, only Elder Kai can do this. Saying, which Kai? Elder Kai. I knew it. How did he get out of my sword? Well, no matter. We can mess with that later. Alright, so what? Either Super Saiyan 3 or the Ultimate Form. They're the same power, so just bring it. That's just it, Beerus. I wasn't finished. Going into being in his ultimate form, he says, and this is when you stack them together. Going into Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan 3 and Ultimate. Looking eye to eye with Beerus. And they fought for like a solid minute. It took a solid minute for Goku to lose this, but he wound up in the same condition. ate a senzu bean, and got up. Now, everyone's been training still, so it's not a big deal for them, so yeah. I'm not gonna say that they would be able to handle Beerus, but they'd be a little bit more of a better fight. And we're just going to say that the multiplier and everything is messed with whenever they're transforming with Ultimate as well, so it's not as good. And their whole thing was they had to try making Ultimate Super Saiyan 3 their base. Goten and Trunks are just trying to make Ultimate Super Saiyan 2 their base. So their hair is spiked golden with lightning around them. Now, they're down in base because, well, they need to be because they're at Bulma's party. And in this version, that party goes way differently. As in, different enough that no one can expect what's going to happen. So, when the fight between Boo and Beerus still happens, in this version, Vegeta is not just on the I don't want to attack, he's ready for fight. And he goes into his ultimate form and going into Super Saiyan 3, thinking maybe I could keep up. And then we have Gohan doing the exact same thing. And the kids having an idea. They go into base, well, actually into Super Saiyan 2 Ultimate and Fuse. And this makes Super Saiyan 3 Ultimate. And these three are basically complete even powered up. And the fusion might even be stronger though. So every single swing Beerus is dodging is on the level of the man he just fought. That took a minute to beat. So they're going to take a hot second. But once they all hit the ground, and whenever that happens, they all go down, and the first thing that Bulma thought to do was smack Beerus. Now, this is when Beerus slaps her, and she goes down to the ground. In this version, Vegeta just hits Ultimate Super Saiyan 3, and then his eyes go pale, and he just ran, just full speed, sent a shot clean into Beerus's jaw. And this is overwhelming Beerus by far. Like it is completely ripping him to shreds. Until Beerus lets a full force out and punches Vegeta dead in the mouth. This makes Vegeta turn his head and turn back and just do the same thing to Beerus. But once his rage is spent, Beerus just sent him into the ocean. Then we've got the kids thinking they might be able to still do something, but they still wind up getting spanked, even though they were a lot stronger. This meant that their entire now thing would be to fight at full force against this guy, and they didn't have enough. And thinking that maybe Boo could help, and yeah, Boo was willing to throw hands too, but that meant that it was a 4. Once Vegeta got out of the water, it'd be a 4 versus 1. That wasn't going any better for the 4. Now, Pan is still going to exist in this version, so that's good. So yeah. Now, in this version, when Goku arrives, he straight up says, let's just ask the Dragon Balls. Boom, Dragon Balls happened, everyone was good. And they still powered up Goku with their full power, but it wasn't enough. And then they said, you need a 6 Saiyan. Them thinking, I have an idea. As right before they're about to try right before Goku tries sensing Tarbal's energy, then actually Whis and Goku are trying to get the energy of other Saiyans, then thinking, we don't know if they're pure-hearted though. Vegeta and Goku have no idea. What about his brother? Perfect. Tarbal. Right before, like, they told Whis about Tarbal, Videl still told everyone the truth, and boom, they had the same Super Saiyan God. And they just started swinging, like, for the fences. But it wouldn't be enough. And what I mean by swinging for the fences is crazy swings. Now, the entirety of that fight is over. Goku and Vegeta still choose to train with Beerus, but Gohan has taken a slightly different route. He's training with the Kai, and then it's a transmission to getting back to Earth every single day. And Goten and Trunks are actually training between both places. When they power up, they can try to get their attention whenever Whis visits every month, and if need be, they can just have the Earthlings power up, and they can just instantly get there when the Earthlings are powered up. So they keep thinking this, and every single day they're ready for it. So every few weeks, Goten and Trunks go to train on Beerus' planet, and then every now and then once they get back, a little bit of time is spent at the Kais, then on Earth. And they just repeat this cycle, going through the three worlds. Now, this meant that they already had Super Saiyan 3 each, but now they were unlocking God Key. Gohan, who actually had planned on unlocking God Key, is doing it. Like, he straight up said, "Can we do the ritual one more time?" Then thinking, sure, and then boom, God Key. Now they have very many gods. As the only ones that don't have it are Goku and Trunks, which makes sense. Now, the Universe 6 versus 7 tournament is the same. Tournament power, just way money. Basically, the kids actually don't participate though, but there's actually a stronger Goku, and that's the reason Beerus. The Morel arc, I haven't messed with that one, but I'm just gonna say Goku and Vegeta end up winning with Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. And for the Broly movie, that one's a little difficult because they're way stronger, but Broly still does the same work until, like, he hits Super Saiyan. Until he hit that. And his Berserk form still to the Fusion Goku. But they're still gonna start training. That's all, folks.